So I'm going to talk about a little bit about visualizing Palestine and our approach and sort of how you can practically use the resources that we have when you're educating about Palestine. So visualizing Palestine uses data and research to visually communicate Palestinian experiences, to provoke narrative change. Our vision is a liberated future for Palestinians in a world free from oppression. What is our theory of change? Our theory of change is centered on shifting narratives. And this is what's so important. We believe that dominant narratives serve to obscure, justify, and perpetuate oppressive power structures in society. To shift this narrative, we invite people to engage with our visuals, to examine the role that dominant narratives play in sustaining a harmful status quo and preventing collective imagination for a liberated future for all. We believe that both those dominant narratives not only justify the power structures that exist, but they also prevent us from imagining a different future. We're at VP, we're dedicated to create narrative interventions that shift those power dynamics, and we're very much focused on making Palestinian narratives more visible, accessible, powerful, and part of wider anti-colonial and anti-racist narratives. Those are, concepts that Bana, Brendan, and Andrew referred to as well. So our role in the movement for Palestinian liberation is really to resource the movement. So you all can, access our resources through our website. Our visuals are there and they're used constantly, actually, by educators, by students, by activists, by organizers, to educate, to raise awareness, to advocate for justice on Palestine. We have more than 300 visuals on our website that you can access, 13 educational platforms. We have a huge following on social media, so if you don't follow us there yet, please do. We've had more than 106 student groups use our visuals in their organizing and awareness raising. And also through our website, what we encourage people to do is to use our download system to download visuals, because it helps us track why and who is using our visuals and gives us really good information around the tools that are helpful for educators and organizers. We are supported by more than 700 grassroots VP members who really help us continue to do the work that we're doing without intervention, on what we can say or do. So all of our visuals are Creative Commons licensing, which really means that they are there for you to use for free, to download and use in your education and advocacy purposes, as long as there are some, for our visuals to be used, they can't be altered, we have to be credited, and the visuals should not be used for commercial purposes. Bana had a great example of how, the visuals should be used in any work that you do. If you go to our website, you will see that you can download, and I included the link to our visuals page earlier during the conversation. But basically, you can filter by theme, you can filter by type, you can filter by language. Our visuals are constantly translated by volunteers into different languages. We commit to producing visuals in English and Arabic. And then in terms of types of visuals, you will find infographics are the most prominent type of work that we produce, but we also have interactive projects and videos as well. So I wanted to make a note about the themes on our website. As I mentioned earlier, all of our visuals are really centered on the experience of Palestinians, and it builds on decades of work by activists who have been working towards mainstreaming key frameworks. The most important framework that I want to mention here, that Bana also mentioned, that Brendan also mentioned, is that theme of settler colonialism, right? When we talk about the Nakba, when we talk about apartheid, when we talk about genocide, these are all manifestations of settler colonialism and its manifestations of unchecked impunity of the Israeli government. And so all of these themes are also present in the most recent book, or the first book that Visualizing Palestine produced in September 2024. And I encourage you to check out this. In addition to the visuals on our website, you can also, and I dropped a link in the chat, you can also utilize the book as an additional tool to educate on these themes. What I would like to mention as well is that all of the work that we do, the visuals that we produce, even the book that we produced, it's important to focus on settler colonialism and its manifestations and the different ways it's manifested. It's also important for us at Visualizing Palestine and for Palestinians, I think, in general, to really focus on how Palestinians have been resisting these manifestations. And Brendan did such a beautiful job talking about this, right? Palestinians have been resisting in many ways for decades. We have ongoing popular protests. We have hunger strikes by prisoners. We have counter mapping efforts, which Visualizing Palestine is actually quite extensively engaged in. We talk about cultural persistence and assertion of who we are. I'm featuring here one of our interactive platforms, which is called Gaza Lives, Resisting Cultural Genocide. It's a really important tool. It took us more than a year to work on it with an organization, a storytelling organization called Continentalist, based in Singapore. And all of these tools are really important ways to also show how Palestinians celebrate life, right, and refuse to give in to oppression. We also focus heavily on the successes of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, and on the importance of collective action by students, educators, musicians. I have some examples here on some of the intersections with other movements, and also bringing in environmental justice, talking about how Palestine, again, is a lens, but is also interconnected to other struggles and other movements for liberation. And this is an important issue to continue to bring attention to. For example, this one visual on divesting for justice, we took the data for that visual and we interpreted it through different ways and different types of infographics. And I think this is important to mention, because our data is so focused on, our visuals are so focused on data. And you can also bring this lens to students. Students can be invited to look at the visuals, but also explore the data behind the visuals. And this is just an example of the data set that was used for the Divesting for Justice visual. And when you go to our website, every visual will have the data sources linked to it. So, I mean, I think I'll just step back for a second. I'm not sure how much time I have left, but in terms of how educators can use our work. One question that the moderators shared with us was, how can educators discuss justice when they teach about Palestine? I think I want to mention three things that have been already mentioned in this discussion. Focusing on the root causes of injustice is very, very important. Focusing on the framework of settler colonialism and how it's manifested is really important. And then VP's visuals can be used to introduce students to a topic visually, but then a visual cannot tell a complete story. So I always encourage people to go and dig into the data and ask students, how else would you use this data? How would you visualize this story? And then using VP's visuals to encourage students to reflect on their role and their responsibility as global citizens to work towards justice, to work towards liberation, right? Oftentimes when we look at Palestine, I think, Bana referred to this, people talk about this issue being complicated. We don't know what the solutions are. Palestinians have been talking about the solutions for decades, so, and then also going back to this question around conflict, really challenging the concept that we are talking about a conflict. This is not a conflict. This is not a two sides issue. This is an issue of settler colonialism. And I think that's really important narrative shift and the narrative intervention, maybe the most important, because it really changes how people interact with Palestine. I'm just going to refer to one of the resources that was, and I think, Andrew, this is one of the resources that you can maybe add to the list of resources that you have. This is one of my go-to resources. Rethinking Schools just released, and it's an organization based in the US. It just released a really important book and tool called Teaching Palestine. And this book is just so rich with resources. One of the pieces that I love the most in this book is called Independence or Catastrophe. I'm not sure how it is in Ireland, but I suspect it's very similar to how it is in the US. Uh, Teaching 1948, the Nakba, from multiple perspectives is really important. In the US, there is so much focused on the creation of Israel after the Holocaust and the importance of the Jews having a country of their own, and there's no mention of this happening at the expense of Palestinians and the population that was already living there. So I think that's a very important tool and educational resource to bring into schools, because there's that dominant narrative, the Zionist narrative, is already permeating. Bana used a similar visual to this, which is the Zionist colonization of Palestine, and Palestine shrinking, expanding Israel is a really important another tool that can be used in schools that really refers to how, it didn't start with 1948. The settler colonialism started before this, right? And this is a really an easy way sort of to bring this to the attention of students who might not understand what settler colonialism is, but can understand and see what it means when there is land grab, when there is a population replacing another. So there are different ways to bring attention to what settler colonialism means for Palestinians on the ground through using these tools. Another really important thing I want to mention, and Dana referred to this as well, we have to address what's happening in Palestine as a whole rather than as a fragment, right? This is a challenge when we talk about Gaza. The Israeli genocide in Gaza is not an isolated incident, and it is our responsibility to place it in this historical context. So, for example, last year, during Nakba commemoration in May 2024, we produced this visual to really show this ongoing Nakba, this ongoing expulsion, ongoing destruction of homes and villages and people's lives, ongoing massacres, and ongoing colonization and Zionist ideology to continue to colonize Palestine, right? This is not hidden. It's all out there. Just one more visual I wanted to refer to, which is, again, what original villages did Gaza's Palestinians come from, right? When we talk about Gaza, a lot of times I think people think that Gaza is a country. It's not a country. It's 1% of historical Palestine, right? It's a very tiny piece of a larger puzzle. And it's really important to refer to the 70% Palestinians who are refugees and have been displaced from their homes in 1948. In conclusion, if you want to use one tool, I would definitely encourage you to explore Visualizing Palestine 101, which is an educational platform that's on our website, and I'm including this in the chat. And really, it's a comprehensive tool where students and educators can learn about the historical context, can learn about the system of control, the structural inequality, and can also learn about international impunity, right? And future possibilities. And I really wanted to end at the future possibilities part, because I don't want the moment that we're in, it's so easy to give into hope, to give into actually despair, and it's so easy to give up. And this is actually the moment where we should not be giving up. We should continue to push forward. We should continue to amplify Palestinian narratives and calls for liberation. And we have visual tools that can help you explain to students, what are some of those future possibilities, to challenge the concept that the right of return is not possible, to call for equal rights for Palestinians with Israeli citizenship, to call for an end to the occupation, to call for return. And these are the demands of the Palestinian boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, which a lot of Palestinians are part of, obviously. So I will end there, and thank you all so much for listening.